Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Stay tuned. Fever, fever, fever. Oftentimes we hear people talk about fever. It is pyrexia. We know we have grades and levels of pyrexia. But for the benefit of this video and our viewers, we are just talking about fever in general. Raised body temperature. Oftentimes you hear people or see people running around with people with fever, high fever, convulsion, and all that. It is not proper. How do you say someone has fever? The person's body must be warm to touch. Feel the body, touch the body. It is warm to touch. Then you use what is called thermometer to check the person's body temperature. You use the thermometer in oral, axillary, and anal regions, depending on the type of thermometer you are using. You check the body temperature, and when it is above 37.2 degrees centigrade or 99 degrees Fahrenheit, that is when you will know is a warning sign that this person has fever. Then you monitor the person closely. What are the things you have to do for this person or for this child? Expose the body. Remove thick clothing. Remove clothing. Open up windows and doors. If you have fan, you turn it on. Or the AC, you turn it on. Then you can take a warm bath, lukewarm bath, or you use tepid water to shower. Not just cold water, no. Use tepid water or lukewarm water to take your bath. Then you make use of towel to take a sponge, clean, damp the body, place on the forehead and leave for some time. As you do all this, anyone you finish doing, you recheck the temperature and note the reading. If it's still high, you keep on doing that. You can take fluid, cold fluid, like water, to rehydrate the body, because dehydration is imminent in fever cases. You have to rehydrate. Keep taking water. Because the more fever you have, the more fluid you lose by sweating and the more dehydrated you become. So water goes a long way to help in subsiding the fever. After doing that, as you do and recheck the body temperature and it's still high, that is when you will now take paracetamol, depending on body weight of the child or the adult. And as you take paracetamol, you take it within 6 hours or at least 4 hours interval. But by then you must have gone to the hospital for medical aid or proper management. Stop leaving fever to be so high that it could not be managed before you get to the hospital. Stop allowing fever cause some complications like seizure disorder or convulsion in children. It can even result to death. Severe dehydration. Manage fever before you get to the hospital. Because he said prevention is better than cure. Yes, try to figure out things causing the fever. You know, in our African continent, it's assumed we have more fever than others. That is why I said for you to know someone has fever, you must have to be sure of the 2 criteria I've talked about. Warm to touch and raise body temperature with the reading of thermometer constantly. Because we may have sunny weather and the person may be under the sun and feels warm to touch. You will say the person has fever. No, the person does not have fever. The person may be under a stress or may have some stressors triggering the fever or warm body, emotional problems, you will classify that the person has fever. No, you will have to tackle the causative agents, the ones you can, before you confirm the person being feverish or having raised temperature or pyrexia, of which you have grays of pyrexia, but we're not going into details now. If it's caused by hot weather, do all the precautions, all the things I've told you to do. Expose, TP sponge, fan, rehydrate. If it doesn't come down, before you go over to taking a paracetamol and searching for medical aid. It's caused by stress. Try to reduce stress. Have some rest. Relax yourself. Take a nap. Drink water. Enough, plenty of water. It will help with the fever. By the time you finish doing all this and the fever continues, you go to the hospital. You must not be running helter-skelter to go to the hospital in fever cases. It is whereby you have failed to do some little things you are supposed to do. That is why you will find out that parents run to the hospital helter-skelter for their child's fever. Or you see someone being rushed to the hospital for fever. No. Let us wake up. I'm your nice musician. I mean well for you. I want it to be prevented than to be cured. Yes. Learn to do the little things you can do to abort the fever before it gets worse. And any fever that is persistent calls for further investigation. That is why on arrival to the hospital, you carry out some medical investigations, checkups, some lab investigations, because it could be caused by malaria parasites, typhoid fever, flu, viruses, and bacteria, or even underlying organ diseases. That is when the findings will have to bring those ones out. Then the person will be managed properly. But if you allow it to have some complications like seizure, there could be damages accompanying that seizure, especially in children. Some can bite off their tongue, some can sustain major injuries, which will not be good, which is not fair. That your child has fever, you shouldn't ignore that child and go about your daily business. No. Attend to that child first. If the child needs to be taken to the hospital, do that before you go for your businesses. That you have fever, you shouldn't just say it will stop. That is how it used to happen to me. It used to happen for how long? Mind you, any fever that exceeds 10 to 14 days is a warning sign for more severe illness in that body system. Learn to do the vital things you should do in fever cases so that we wouldn't be having complications of fever, or people will not be dying of fever. Expose, fan, TP sponge, take lukewarm baths, place towels, recheck thermometer. That is why thermometer is essential for every home. Make sure you have thermometer at home that you'll be using to check body temperature. Take paracetamol or ibuprofen, as the case may be, before you go to the hospital for medical aid. You don't just stay like that and be waiting for your turn to go to the hospital, or be waiting for when it will become critical before you go to the hospital. No. Endeavor to do the necessary things before you sought for medical aid. I'm your nurse musician, Ngozi Waske of Webu. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. I'm always there for you. Stay connected all the time. Stay healthy and be healthy. Endeavor to do the necessary things for the fever cases you have or you see around. One love.